Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And it's time to talk about Andor, episode 8. We're so far into this now, 2 months. It's amazing. And this episode is subtitled Narkina 5. Now, before we start breaking it down and talking about certain elements of this episode, let me just introduce you to my co-host, Cousin Chito. How you doing?
Doing good. Glad to talk about some more Andor here.
Yeah. Once again, another fantastic episode. This is the sort of episode I kind of expected after how last week ended. Just maybe him adapting to jail time, understanding what it's like to be in jail, getting to know his inmates, getting to know his surroundings, all of that, as well as obviously some subplot elements regarding people like Luthen, people like Mon Mothma, and even people like Bix and Vale and Vel and all of them. So there was quite a lot packed into this episode. How you finding Andor so far, mate?
I'm really loving it. Although I do have to reinforce my statement from last week. Honestly, in my opinion, we're spending too much time with Andor, not enough. And I know the show's about him. I understand that, but I also want to see more of the characters like Mon Mothma. I want to spend more time with Saw Gerrera. We're going to talk more about later. Luthen. I want more time with those characters right now. Like have Andor off in jail. We spent way too much time of learning of the ins and outs on how they make probe droid assholes. You know what I mean? Like that's what they were making, was like the bottoms of the probe droids or whatever. I really don't need that. And I know that there's a great surprise cameo in there, but at the same time I'm like,
Two, in fact.
oh, two? Okay, well,
I'll
but
get to the other one. I'll mention him when we get there.
are you talking about Saw Gerrera?
Yes.
Yeah, I already mentioned him. So
Oh, I thought then he must be Andy Serkis then.
yes.
Okay.
Anyway, but I honestly feel like I like Andy Serkis, but I feel like this is a grave misuse of him. I really feel like maybe he could have been like, I think he would be better served as like some kind of rebel, rebel insurgent or rebel leader, kind of like Saw Gerrera. Like maybe he has a meeting with Saw Gerrera, like Luthen has a meeting with Saw Gerrera, and then Andy Serkis plays the other rebel or whatever. I just these past two episodes, I'm like, I less Andor, more, and we're getting a little bit more serial, uh, Mon Mothma, but I want more. I want them to gear a little bit further away from Andor in this little arc, and I want them to go all in on Mon Mothma and all the side plots. So I thought
I
that them
agree.
putting
Even
him in
Deirdre was.
prison was going to be a good way to kind of sideline him for a little bit. And I know there would have to be a story there, but we still spent at least over half the episode with Andor in this episode. And I was kind of like, come on, give me more Mon Mothma, give me more like Luthen, give me more, sorry.
But we
Anyway,
saw Deirdre and Cyril come together, which was also pretty good. But
yeah, but they
before
kind
we
of left that. They kind of even left that flat on its face. Now I know they will probably come back together for some reason, but yeah, like they just kind of flat faced it here. I was like, come on, guys.
well, when we saw like the beginning of this episode, when we saw Andor going to prison and all of that, and he's still like totally perplexed, wondering what the fuck's going on. His shoes get taken off. I love the way those things around his hands, like they initially they're like that, but as soon as he sits down, they get tied to the side, which was nice bit of Star Wars tech there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the planet, and we see a brand new planet, and this planet looks like it's the moon of another planet by the looks of things. It's like a small planet called Narkin 5. It's like a water planet with sort of remote cliff tops
It's
scattered around.
it's the water moon of Endor. Oh wait, no.
Yeah. And like he arrives barefoot, and obviously that plays a part. They did focus a lot on the feet. If you watched if you watched House of Dragon, you'll see there's a joke there to be made regarding feet. But we also noticed that the guards are wearing like special boots as well, and
Yeah,
that obviously yeah.
those stuck out like a sore thumb. I was like, "Uh-oh. Are those like rocket feet or are those like something else?"
Mario Brothers shoes.
Yeah, right? It's yeah, that's right on the money.
But I've seen these sort of like future prisons in other films where you think to yourself, well, how they keep it? They're keeping the prisoners in check But how? You know, like there's only a handful of. Oh god, I really thought I dealt with notifications here. You know, how they're doing it? Are they using some sort of tech? And yes, they are, because if the prisoners are out of line, they get fried, basically, like because their feet are touching a metal surface. You know, they will get electrocuted, and I love that. You know, it was a very good way of showing them how fucked they are and the sort of situation they're in. Um, we also like followed Deirdre as well. Like she did have some decent moments in this episode too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we see Colonel Urine again, and she's basically very much believes that Farix, the planet which we saw Andor on at the beginning of the season, has basically is like the big is where like the rebel uprising is kind of beginning to a degree. So she mentions that from him, and she then obviously sees Cyril later on. We see obviously before seeing Cyril, like there's a couple of understudy sort of empire officers coming to pick up Cyril, and the reason why they're seeing him all the time is because he's constantly, um, he's constantly going on about Andor all the time, basically uh, putting out reports on Andor, and it's kind of caught the attention of the ISB regarding that, and then he's talking to them, telling them, yeah, like this particular guy Andor, he did all of these things on Farix, and then he also mentions his own record as well, that he done, he found out about two people being murdered, and he got a conviction within 2 days and all of that. He's basically trying to show that he's a bit of a badass. So get away, get away, making too much noise. Um, so what do you think of Cyril here? Because for a long time now, a lot of us were thinking which way he would be going. But by the looks of things, he's full on got ambitions for the Empire. But there's still a chance that he might turn rebel
I think
if
that's. Oh, go ahead.
if the Empire keeps snubbing him,
Yeah, I was
and
about
he
to say,
might,
I think
yeah.
that's where they're heading with this. The more they keep snubbing him, especially after this episode, the more I'm going to think he's eventually going to be like, you know what, screw the Empire. I'm going to join the rebellion, and I don't know. It seems like still the rebellion would just be, you know, and I mean he could just get like butthurt about it and join the rebellion just to spite the Empire, but I feel like he loves order and justice too much to support the rebellion. So I don't. I mean, I could definitely see it going that way though.
Yeah,
But
he's definitely at this particular moment in time. He's definitely all in on the Empire.
yeah,
Like he believes in their cause, all of that, and obviously after helping out Deirdre with her investigation by updating her with certain facts, they oh, come on, mate. Yeah, they 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 do thank him for his services to the Empire, but that's just not good enough for him. He wants in, and basically Deirdre's there saying, "Don't push your luck, mate." But she also said that if you make one more complaint about Andor, you're done. So he can't go down that route anymore either. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. We still haven't seen his uncle Harlow yet, as well. I'm not sure if he'll have a part to play, but it was good to finally see Cyril do something other than eat blue milk cereal, and complaining about how shit his life is after losing his job.
this
So
should have
yeah,
been like 2-3 episodes ago. I'm sorry, like this part right here should have been 2-3 episodes ago, in my opinion. And
I don't.
honestly, I don't like this coy will they won't they with Cyril and getting him with the Empire. Like either get him with the fucking Empire or leave him because I, I I'm all for a slow burn, but I feel like this is well beyond a slow burn. Like they've gone a whole arc beyond where this should be right now.
well,
Like that meeting should have been episodes ago.
he's not like a prominent part of each episode. Like we just have little snippets of him. If he was taking up a lot of time, I might agree with you. But considering he's only here and there and not everywhere, I'm kind of happy that this particular episode, even after 8 episodes now, finally we're seeing Cyril going in a different direction, and I very much appreciate that. It was pretty good. But going back to Andor again, so like when he before he gets initiated into his new job, we do see him walking through corridors, and we see some boots hung up and stuff like that. And this is something I only really noticed like the second time around of watching it. But one of the guards is complaining to another guard about another guard that is missing. And then that guard eventually comes along and says, "Sorry, guys, we're kind of short elsewhere." So I think that there's something there, because they're definitely showing us. They're definitely showing us the boots for a reason, because they want us to know that they're going to probably need those boots when it comes to escaping, because a jailbreak is definitely on the cards, as well. So, and I feel like the jailbreak might happen once the Empire kind of realizes that the guy they're looking for, they already have, because they're on the search for somebody. Come on, mate. Come on. Can't you see Dad's working here? Can't you see Dad's working here? All right. So they're looking for Andor. They already have him. His name is Grief or Keith or whatever. He's in their actual custody, but they don't even know that. And I do feel they will come to realize that just as Andor's starting to break out.
Yeah, right.
So
I feel like they're gonna show up as soon as like, oh, there's a jailbreak happening. Where at? The place that Andor is at. What? And then they're gonna get there and like, they're all gonna stand there on the lift pad or whatever as their ship is flying away.
Now, look, I'll be honest with you. If there were other types of Star Wars shows that went down that particular path, I can imagine that, maybe like the Kenobi show, so to speak. But the way this show's going, I feel the things would be done a little bit differently. But finally, we get to meet, Grand Commander Snoke. I mean, I apologize, Andy Serkis.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, hey, it's young Snoke. Wouldn't that be hilarious though? Like,
if he was Snoke.
If he was Snoke, like
I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that.
I mean, but at least it gives us an origin of Snoke. Like, he's only got 260 days left. What if something happens to him, and then like they have to clone him or something? And then all of a sudden that's what starts the whole cloning thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that myself. Like, I mean, Snoke is not like somebody who was fabricated. He is a person who was cloned or whatever. But anyway, I just no, I just don't want it.
Come on, Sam.
No, but Snoke is not even human. He's like he's an alien.
None of these people are human. None of them are from Earth.
No, but I'm talking about the same species as us. They're like. Snoke is not, he's a totally different type of species.
How do we know that? Was that ever mentioned?
No, I like you see him, his size and everything. His hands. He's definitely not like the human type of species.
Could be cross gene manipulation.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, there are people. We see obviously Serkis, and he basically shows Andor the ropes and stuff like that. And there's loads of people working on these tables, and they're building shit now. A lot of speculation is that some of the stuff they're building is to do with the construction of the Death Star. I'm not sure if you buy that or not.
I've heard several theories, but I mean, one of the prominent ones that I've heard is that it's like the bottom support structure for a probe droid, just because of all the the way that it's constructed.
That's a lot of probe droids.
Well, there's a whole universe of probe droids out there. I mean, apparently Imperial class Star Destroyers have. Oh, our friend is here, everyone. New dating for all tastes and ages, baby.
Introduce him to Block.
All right. Anyway, we've been getting these more recently. Like, we had none, and then all of a sudden they just start popping in.
Because they probably hear about how I like to shag hookers all the time, so they're thinking, "Oh yeah, he's my man." So.
This is an easy sell.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, and you're right. It might be they might be mass producing, but every room is building something different. So honestly, it could be a part for a TIE fighter. It could be a part like anything that the Empire needs in droves, like TIE fighters, like Imperial class Star Destroyer parts. Like, every single one of these rooms has like a different function, and they build a different thing.
It's slave labor at the end of the day as well, isn't it?
Oh, because, yeah, absolutely.
Because they're getting prisoners to do work for them, and they're doing it for free, and they have to work 12 hours a day. Which is kind of quite light, considering it's the Empire. You thought they'd make them work, 16 hours a day or something along those lines. Anyway, Sorry for some of that noise you can hear behind me. There's some construction going on. You can see that little flashing light there at my window.
I don't hear anything. All I can hear are the birds.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So like we
Brutus.
get an we get an idea of like how this assembly line works, because what it is that Andy Serkis is in charge of this room, and all the tables in the room are competing against each other, but Andy Serkis's room is competing against other rooms. If you picked up on that, and this in a way kind of stops camaraderie, because in a way, so there's no camaraderie, there's no like unity amongst all of the inmates, because they're all competing against each other just so they can have a bit of flavor in their food or some shit like that.
Well, and the lowest tables get fried. So
yeah,
I mean,
they get disciplined. They
yeah.
don't kill them, but they get
Well,
disciplined.
no, fried is in like they chuck the floor on them, is what they said.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that that's pretty. Here's the thing. I feel like we spent way too much time in this prison this week. As I said, that's definitely going to be points against it. I cannot.
I
Like
didn't mind.
we know every in and out of this prison and this productivity structure that they have, because we spent so much goddamn time talking about it. And I don't mind them just talking, but I want to see more of what's going on with, as I said, the other side plots that are going on, not the goddamn prison where they're doing slave labor. I get it.
Look, we do get them. I mean, like, before I go into anything else, I mean, but just think Andor in this situation, like that face, like that face. Oh shit, this is really happening. You know what I mean? Like, because this is becoming his new normal. Like initially, like 1 minute the guy was going out to get pizzos. The chick he was banging is probably still waiting for him to come back. And now he's in jail, and he's just like can't believe what the fuck is going on. And that look like he's silently freaking out.
He does not have very many lines in this episode at all. Like he's
he's just quiet. Taking it all in. He's taking it all in because like he's got nothing to say. Like he's in this new world right now, and then he's just trying to understand what's going on. So he's too busy listening and watching than talking. It was brilliant. So we do cut to Mon Mothma, and
finally
she's having these like sort of like, once again she seems to love having these sort of like these sort of dinner parties with the high society, and they're drinking the champagne with fizzy worms. Kind of remind me of Star Trek a little bit with is it Grak or whatever it's called?
Gok, yes.
Yeah,
Klingons Gok, except man, they just eat those worms like flat out. They don't even just wiggly and.
Well, they put these worms in the champers, and it gets all fizzy and stuff.
Well, and I think it like fries them or something, because they die. Like they turn red and they're done. Looks like.
Yeah, but no worm for Mon Mothma, because she's trying to remain sober and all of that. And then obviously Tay arrives, and there's some problems with transferring the bank funds. It's a bit difficult. It's a bit suspicious. And then we also see her like mingle with other guests as well. Then they're kind of talking about Palpatine and his overreach and stuff like that. Some people are totally cool with it. Some people think, when is too much, and all of that. It was interesting hearing how high society feels about this, but these people are in such a bubble. They have no idea what the rest of the world's like, and even later on, as regarding Mon Mothma, like we find out that she became a senator at 16, but she married her husband at 15.
Yep.
And no wonder there's like almost like a resentment there. Like it was probably like an arranged marriage.
It was probably an arranged marriage.
Yeah, so like there is a resentment there. Like she's probably fed up with this guy. I mean, look, they're both of them. Mon Mothma, by the way, I'm getting the hots for her big time. By the way, she looks so glamorous in everything she wears.
Man, I don't see it. Like, I'm not saying she's like ugly or anything. I'm glad you're happy. I don't see it. Like,
very elegant. I'm finding it very attractive.
I do agree with you that she's very elegant. Yes, but just not my cup of tea.
Anyways,
I know we sound like a bunch of like fucking.
I got a thing for redheads as well. So, anyways, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so but we do see her like mentioning that as they're looking at their windows and admiring the views and stuff like that. So we are getting an idea of her. There's more to her than meets the eye, and we kind of knew that from last week as well, when she talked to Tay about saying that the person everyone sees is not the real Mon Mothma. So anyway, Back to Andor again because this is predominantly his episode. We do understand how his digs work, and we also see sign language going on as before they get to their digs. Between different like cell members, not cell members, but different parts of the prison. Like the only way they can communicate with each other is through sign, which was unusual. But yeah, fair enough. I do feel like all of this is all going to culminate at one particular
Oh,
point.
absolutely. It's going to culminate next episode for sure. I just, how does nobody see them signing? Like,
No, but they just don't care. I mean,
yes, I don't know.
yeah, they generally don't care, and but we see how Andor's little like pod works. I mean, the guy can't even jerk off, in private. Everyone's seeing each other and stuff like that. You have to shit in front of everyone. He's got his little one pipe for water, one pipe for food. As I said earlier, if they do really well, then that food comes out flavorsome. But they want to keep them, healthy and fed so that they can work better. And the whole facility itself, it's very clean. It's almost like cyberpunk Orwellian. What I mean? That's the only way I could describe it. But it's very clean. It's sterile. Everything is white, sanitized, everything, because they understand that these guys are workers and they want to keep them working. It makes no sense to have these guys falling apart on you, if and having them in shitty conditions,
Yeah.
and get them sick and stuff like that. So the Empire very much know that to keep their to keep them alive for as long as possible by putting them in good conditions, but still keeping them miserable. So much so that one guy, when he wakes up the following day, like he kills himself. And I just remember that another guy saying, "God, we're gonna smell him all night." I mean, I just started laughing. That was absolutely hilarious as well. But because Andor is also he's like recently joined this prison cell, like people are asking him about the outside world. The new prison sentences. Do you understand that? Is to do with this rebellion uprising? Do you know about the theft on that particular planet? Obviously, he did it, but he's just acting all dumb and stuff like that. But the prisoners are aware of things happening, but because Andor was obviously recently joined, he's the only person they can really talk to when it comes to the outside world. So
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I did laugh with the whole, the guy like oh, we're gonna smell him all night. Like that was
yeah,
hilarious.
that
But I
was
mean,
absolutely hilarious.
but here's the thing. Like, here's their first problem is that when they made
I
his
got it.
prison sentence, oh God,
I got it.
when they made his prison sentence 6 years, we knew he wasn't staying there the whole time. Like, and we know that he's not. But it's like if they would have made like 2 years, 3 years, because this is 5 years before Rogue One. So he's still like there still would have been that like how long is he going to be there? You know what I mean? Like if it's like only 2 years for whatever minor infraction that he did, it's still going to seem like a lot for just not doing anything. But at the same time, it's like will he be there the whole time? Will there be a time jump? That's the mystery but since they sentenced him to 6 years, we know he's not going to be there that long. So it's almost like,
Well, at the same time, they are hunting him, so in a way, it's like it's a weird in a way. Like they're looking for Andor, even though they have Andor, but they don't realize they have Andor.
yeah, I
So
know.
if you
That's
stay for
always,
2 years, I mean, it's gonna be a bit weird. So but anyway, cutting to Farrak's, and the goddamn Bix was hot in this episode. I mean, I couldn't stop looking at that.
now that I
That
can see. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, Bix was like, wow, Bix, that uniform, that outfit you're wearing is like, yes, and even then it was not revealing, but it just fitted her like a glove, if you know what I mean. So yeah, she's got, all right. I'm gonna say it, she's got a lovely ass. So anyway, she's looking after Andor's mother. I forgot her name, so I'm calling her Andor's mother. But Andor's mother is kind of like, she's becoming a little bit disillusioned now, and she's losing her marbles a little bit. She's also an elderly lady too, but she still wants to be this rebel. That's kind of where she wants to go down.
I'm sure.
And
I'm sure she'll be dead by the end of the series. I mean, she's going to go out doing something rebellious, like something for the
I think
rebellion.
Bix might be dead as well. Like I think there's a few people who might die who gives Andor the a reason to fight this war in the first place.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
he
Nobody's
loses
safe in
his
this
ex,
show.
loses his mum. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but we also then finally see Vel and Cinta, and because Vel's been ordered to look for Andor, they decide to come to Farrix, to keep an eye on Bix, because really that's the only lead they got. And you kind of then obviously see a little bit between Vel and Cinta as well about regarding their relationship, because Vel wants to just to spend some more quality time with Cinta, but Cinta's like saying, "Look, we need to get the fucking job done." You know what I mean? The war comes first, we come second. I mean, if we do get some quality time with each other, that's great, but usually we have to always follow orders, and that comes first. And so, yeah, both her and now what's his face? Andor has got two people on his case who want to kill him, Vel and Cinta, and these are people he initially were friends with, just a few episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when them two catch up with him. But Bix she does more of that Morse code shit to Luthen, but Claire catches the Morse code, and it doesn't want Luthen to respond because like things are really like hot right now, because after the robbery, Empire is everywhere, probably got their ears open on everything. Claire doesn't want to respond to whatever Bix's request is, and you see an argument between Claire and Luthen regarding this. You're slipping and all of that sort of stuff. But we also find out that Luthen is cool with Claire wanting to take care of of Andor too. Initially, I just thought that was what Claire wanted, but Luthen's in on it as well because he needs to keep his identity a secret. so. So we didn't follow Luthen, and he leaves Coruscant and he goes to a planet called Serga Milo, and that's where we see the second cameo of the day, which is Sol Guerrero, played by Forrest Whitaker, and he hasn't got his, is it the Vesperator, what the fuck it's
Yeah, he
called?
doesn't have any of
Yeah,
that yet. He's a
yeah,
much
he doesn't
younger,
have any.
5 years younger version.
So we're obviously going to see how he gets fucked up. You know what I
Maybe,
mean?
maybe. I don't know if he's going to be
This
super
season or
involved in this,
next.
but I don't know if he's going to be super involved in this show. Is he? I mean, because technically, doesn't Saw have more of a connection with Geno in Rogue One than Cassian, or did Cassian have direct ties with?
Actually, but we haven't seen Andor. I mean, just because, you're absolutely right. But Andor hasn't, like Andor's not there. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Luthen knows him, but it doesn't mean that Andor knows him.
Well, I know. No. I meant like in Rogue One, though.
Yeah,
Like
Jenna. So she's
the one who knows him, not.
yeah, because her and her dad and him were friends.
Yeah.
So that'll be maybe we might see Mads Mikkelsen in this as well.
I would be 100% for that. I mean,
Which
there's a lot of
which is
people
why
from
which is why he didn't kill him, because he knew him. You know what I mean?
who Andor.
Andor. Yeah, because he was
I'm pretty sure he would have tried to. I'm pretty sure he tried to kill him. He just didn't.
okay. Fair enough, but it would add some texture to it if that was the case.
No, I agree with you. I do want. I don't necessarily want Cassian and Mad Mikkelsen's character to join, or to meet Andor, but I do want them to like have him on the show. It makes sense because we're like knee deep in like imperial politics and hierarchy and everything like that. So it makes sense that we'd see somebody like, hey, what is his name? I can't remember from the show what his name. Mad Mikkelsen's character.
I forgot his name. But something Urso, I think. Yeah, because he's an Urso as well, isn't he? Like Jen
I'm thinking of the
Erso.
other guy. What's the other guy's name?
Luthen.
No, the
Stellan
Admiral
Skarsgård.
from Rogue One. Why am I losing his name?
Oh, you mean Tarkin?
No, not Tarkin. The guy in the white.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah, his character. I would want to see his.
Yeah.
And you're right. Also, Mad Mickelson's character too. With the creation of the dead. Wouldn't that be crazy if like he Mad Mikkelsen and
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn's character would come in like to inspect the parts, and that's how we find out they're Death Star parts.
Yeah,
Like
that would be pretty cool.
that, I honestly would love that cameo because it makes sense. It's not just a, drop of the dime cameo like, hey, here there. No, like it makes sense. If they're building parts for the Death Star there, that makes perfect sense that Mad Mickelson and whatever his name is. Why can I not keep his name in my head?
And Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn would be there. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, just to get back to Luthen and Soul, like this was a really cool thing that Luthen was doing, because in a way he doesn't want to take, he still wants to remain in the shadows, doesn't want to take credit for the heist. So in a way he's like going, Soul, I heard about this heist. Is it your work? And there's a little bit of a tit for tat, and a little game being played here between them two regarding that. And you can tell Luthen in a way wants to almost spread the word that, okay, Saul Guerrero did it. So in a way, it's not, no one thinks it was him. It's a clever tactic in a way, not to take not to be known for the heist. But Luthen and Saul, they're kind of coming to, like, even though they're doing some sort of trade agreements and stuff like that, Luthen wants to kind of combine their forces, but he also knows that the Empire still needs to come down harder on the people than it is already coming down now, because a rebellion will happen if more people suffer and all of that. And
unfortunately, he's right. I mean, that's kind of, it's an ingenious plan. It's an ingenious plan by Luthen, but I mean, it's a terrible plan, but it's ingenious. You know what I mean? Like, it's a terrible idea, but it's true, and he's right. The rebellion, they need to goat the Empire into coming down hard on the people to squeeze out the insurgents so that the insurgents rises up.
Now, he also wants to combine their forces, but at this particular moment in time, Saul Guerrero doesn't want to do that as well. He's still doing like guerrilla tactics, and that's kind of his thing for Guerrero.
Did you mention the X-Wings, by the way? X-Wings?
X-Wings?
You didn't see the X-Wings?
No, what X-Wings?
They were sitting outside of Saul Guerrero's cave.
Oh, you must have stolen a couple then.
Oh yeah, the way, well, depending on where you look, the way that the X-Wings were actually Imperial property initially, and then they were stolen. I think they were prototypes, and I think they were stolen by the rebellion. But I don't, because the thing is that the X-Wings are far more not efficient, because like TIE fighters, they can have like 1 million of those, but X-Wings were supposed to be more elite.
These are like the X-Wings that were not the ones during the Clone War era in Episode 3. These are like the modern day X-Wings.
And I can't tell, they might have been Z95 headhunters, but they look very, very like Z95 headhunters are the proto X-Wing. So that's something I'll have to look up. But yeah, no, I saw those out there. I about jumped out of my chair because, you know me, I'm a guy for spacecraft. So
yeah. So, but as I said earlier, like Saul Guerrero doesn't want to combine forces, and Luthen, he then heads off. So I mentioned earlier about an inmate killing himself on the electric floor. That happened at near the end of the episode as well. But Bix is finally captured because somebody obviously wants to speak to Bix, as they know that she's associated with Andor, and obviously now Deirdre is looking for Andor after talking to Cyril, and they're obviously on Ferrix as well, and they've got a base on Ferrix as we saw earlier on. And they find Bix, they capture her, and I love the way Deirdre played this scene. Like, she wanted like the friend of hers who has the Morse code equipment to remain there so she can see him. But as soon as Bix arrived, she says, "Get rid of him. I don't want to see this." It was really cleverly done. In a way, like she's pretending that she doesn't want her to see that she's going to have the shit beaten out of her, and it's going to play on more in her mind as well. But she wanted to see it all along. It was really cleverly done, and yeah, I just love that scene. It was just really good, and it just kind of shows you how fucked up the Empire is. And obviously, we see Andor working a bit more, and that's how the episode ends. Now, what I liked about this episode personally was that we really got to see the inner workings of the Empire in various ways, from the high society, drink parties and stuff like that, to the ISB, working their magic and trying to do the investigations, to the conditions that prisoners are kept in and basically become slave labor, and all of that. It was, and as well as like, towns being taken over like they did on Ferrix by the Empire. It was it was a fantastic episode. Like you just saw the day in day out of what it means to be under the rules of these people. With just regular people as well, under all this shit. I fucking loved it. It was brilliant. As well as the subplots were minimal. Mainly everything was focused on Andor, but I thought
That's
it
what
was
I
a great
didn't want in
episode.
this episode, unfortunately. So it does look like while you were talking up the end of the episode, I did look it up. It's X-wing starfighters because they
Oh
got
my
the
god, I didn't even notice it. They were so dark, I didn't even notice
yeah.
it.
I mean, yeah, because they don't have their red and blue and gold and a
Is
green
that Tusken
designation.
Raider?
No, just
Okay, but I know what Tusken Raiders usually look like, but that's because they cover themselves in all these wrappings and shit.
yeah, I
But
don't think so though. I'd have to double check. But yeah, but it's not a Z95 because Z95 headhunters only have one gun on the end here, but they do look a lot like this. But they've only got one. But these definitely have the X foils on the side, S foils on the side, and then they have two guns, one on the top and one on the bottom, which is the standard X-wing formation. So that's with the two guns. Z95s only
X-wings are
have
bad.
one.
X-wings are awesome, man. I mean,
That's why I was like, I saw him and I'm like, oh my god, are we going to see X-wings this episode? No, probably in the future though. Like we're probably like towards the end of the season, we'll probably see X-wings. But
they're kind of camouflaging a little bit, which is why I didn't notice them. Like
yeah,
they're the same colors as the rocks and the dirt and all of that sort of stuff.
yeah.
But
But anyway,
yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
I know
Um,
I marked out. I saw him. I'm like, oh my god, X-wings! Yay! There's another craft that's off to the left, that I really couldn't make out. It's up here in the corner, and here I'll bring it up again. It's and I cannot tell what it is. It might be some kind of transport craft, but I mean, if you look over, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but if you look over here on the left, there's something
can you
here.
zoom?
Maybe no, it won't let me
Hold on,
zoom.
hold on. Let me zoom. Yeah, that could be fucking anything, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. It might be a transport.
I
It
think
might
that
be a.
could be Luthen's ship.
It might have been. I mean, yeah. You know what? The more you, yeah. Now that you mention that, it probably is. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, no more. Oh, we get fucked.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to. I'm trying to do it as a still, but god damn it, this thing. God, come on.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably it.
God, it looks very Star Trekky.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, before we get demonetized
Yeah.
or
But
blocked.
yeah. But once again, I thought this was a fantastic episode. I know you didn't like it because obviously it had too much Andor in it, but I'm fine with just seeing him in this new world, seeing him, like for especially in the first day he was there, like just realizing shit, I'm really here, I'm really in prison. What the fuck, and just like the freak out look on his face was glorious. But then obviously after 30 days, he's very used to everything, and all of that, and he's used to the routine and all, and you see him just being another member, another cog in the wheel in that prison and all of that. Yeah, great episode. Marking time, baby. What are you gonna give it?
I'm gonna give it an. Come back to me. I don't. I can't. I'm in between two numbers, and I just can't.
I really want to give this a 9. I really do. There's a big part of me that wants to give this a 9 because it was just a really good episode that just, I think there was a few payoffs in this as well as new storylines being created. A couple of lovely cameos as well. as much as we did get Andor, there was more expansion in this, and you could see maybe like little building blocks of when the breakout does eventually happen. I mean, we are assuming that he will be jailbroken. I mean, there could be various things. Ginger gives it an 8.
Well, put it in.
Yeah,
I just posted the poll. Put it in the chat. Sorry.
no problem. I'm gonna give it a 9. I think this was a fantastic episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It ticked a lot of the boxes for me, and I think it's definitely going to set up a possible jailbreak in the future with them looking at things like the boots and understanding like a lack of guards and stuff like that. You know, there's just something there, and I can't wait for that to happen. You know, it's gonna be good fun. Um, we'll see how it all happens. I think and I think one of the guys, by the way, in that cell with him actually isn't also in Rogue One, not just Sol Guerrero. One of the people in the cell. Um, Somebody mentioned that in one of the review videos I watched. Maybe I think it might have been Star Wars Theory or something like that. And the funny thing is, if you watch Tales of the Jedi, Ginger Greek, you'll get your fucking aliens, mate. So much sexual setting up. Next episode should be interesting. I don't think the break's going to happen next week. I think the setup for the break is going to happen next week, and then
I
the
think the
break's
break's gonna be next week. I mean, they do these 3-episode arcs. I feel like I think the break's gonna be next week. The episode will end at the end of the jailbreak. I don't think the jailbreak's gonna take all episode, like the heist did. Like the heist took all episode. I think the jailbreak's gonna take maybe like half the episode, but the first half of the episode is going to be a setup, and then the break is actually going to be at the end of the episode. It's not going to take super long, I don't think.
I think what it is for me, next week we're going to see Cassian's head getting turned, and he will. Yeah, they're saying that, Ginger, but the guy who wrote this episode said that last week's episode was like a bridge episode and wasn't part of an arc. And apparently the next 3 episodes are going to be a 3-episode arc, with the last 2 episodes being a 2-episode arc. So that's
well,
what
I mean,
I've heard.
I guess if that's the case, but I feel like that last week's episode was the first part of this 3-part arc. I mean, it just made sense.
It made sense to me too. That's what I thought it was going to be. Either way, I mean, if it is next week, that's fine. But what I can see next week is maybe some just catching, experiencing some of the injustices done by the Empire, and maybe becoming that rebel whilst he's in jail. Maybe someone like Andy Serkis, I only got 200 days left until I'm out of here, and then all of a sudden something fucks up for him, and then he's like in there for another 1,000 days or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then they start cloning him, and then he becomes Grand Inquisitor Smoke or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, exactly, and all of that.
I'm sitting on that theory, man. I'm sitting on that theory and spinning.
And maybe more people, decide to fry themselves and stuff like that, but they just had enough, and all of that, and maybe certain people get battered and whatever, and the guards show some sort of cruelty and they get off on it and all of that. It's going to
be those guards definitely. Did you see when that guard, the head guard or whatever, like hit the button when they first got there? Like he was, when he saw Andor go down, he's like, yeah, baby.
And that was on the lowest setting as well.
Yeah.
So so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I can see that old dude who I've seen who's part of their group getting fucked over.
He's
the
dead.
Old guy.
I knew that as soon as I saw him. I'm like, oh, that's the old guy that's going to die.
I've seen him in other stuff as well, but it just escapes me. Where else I've seen him? But like I said, there's a lot of British actors in.
I mean, every group needs a ginger Greek. I mean, somebody that just gets wasted in the beginning. So I mean, but inspires us all.
What I want though is just a few more different accents. Now I'm all good with them having an entire British cast. I wish these British cast members would try some different accents just to make it like everyone fucking British. It's getting a bit much now, even for me, the black guy was in Gimme Gimme. Yeah, I recognized him as well. Yeah, but they need to put some different accents on some of these people. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind hearing some Caribbean accents and some Aussie accents and some Eastern European accents and maybe a
Make
few
up an
American.
accent, for criminy sake.
Yeah,
We're in the galaxy. We're not even on Earth.
just mix it up a little bit because it's just getting a bit too Britishy, even for my liking. You know what I mean? Yeah, because it's the same complaints I always have about Star Trek and stuff like that. All the fucking aliens have American accents. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, we need different types of yeah, like a Norfolk accent, Geordie accent, yeah, for sure. You know, West Country accent, you know, and all of that sort of stuff. A Welsh accent, oh yeah, boy, oh, you know, what I mean, all of that sort of stuff. You know, yeah, throw it
Oh,
all
they could
in
get
there.
Duran on there. They could talk Duran, like with that Duran
Oh,
accent.
please, no, really dad jokes, man. I beg you. You know what I mean? But
Duran, yeah,
yeah,
get the actor who plays Duran. I love him.
so that's one of my more recent gripes. Um, after watching 8 episodes, because we are 2 months into this show, and we are pretty much coming now to the end game, so to speak, from next week onwards. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Will we finally see K2SO appear at some particular point? Will we get him? You know, is somebody going to bite the bullet? You know, like maybe Deirdre or that or somebody within the ISB or something along those lines. Are we going to get? Is Luthen going to survive this season? You know,
I
I
honestly
don't
don't
know.
think so. I think he's going to give his life at the end. I think Andor is going to be on the rebellion train pretty much, but I think the thing that seals the deal for him is going to be Luthen getting killed. I think that for some reason, like I think they're going to
Well,
reconnect
Luthen
after
wants
the.
him dead, though. Luthen wants
I
him
know,
dead.
but that's what I'm saying. Like I think Luthen is going to want to, he's going to want to kill him, but then he's like, you know what? I'm going to recruit him to this cause, and then by the end of this, like the last episode or the penultimate episode, Luthen's going to die, and that's going to just solidify Cassian's resolve in this whole fight because he's
Probably
going to
more
lose.
Mothmas as well.
Yeah, because she knows him too. So, and I think
Yeah.
he's going to get killed in a very public way. I think it's going to be public. I don't think it's going to be like he's in a corridor and a bunch of stormtroopers just mow him down. It's going to be he's going to get cornered somewhere in the public eye, and he's going to be an inspiration to the rebellion, a martyr, basically. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be a martyr for the
Hmm.
rebellion. That's kind of how I see that going. And both, not as I said, not only will it sure up Andor's resolve, but it'll also, yeah, you're right, Mon Mothma too, because she'll see it and she'll be like, Luffy, what are you doing? Like she's gonna be confused as to why he is on the TV about to get destroyed by the Empire or whatever. They're freaking 1985 box TVs.
Yeah, I
Get
know. That was
rolled on by
hilarious.
Java.
Well, Ginger Greek says, agree, but need more aliens. It's like a bullet. Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. You know, yeah. I mean, that has been the problem with modern day Star Wars. The lack of alien variety, and not just that, but we're talking like shapes. So I'm sick to death of humanoid aliens. I mean, they do go to the well. You can have a Quillic and all of this sort of shit, but yeah, give us the sort of like puppetry aliens, the Jim Henson style. That's what I want. Um, he's gonna get rolled by Jabba. I would love to see Jabba in this. I would love to see
I
Jabba
just
in
don't
this.
want them to go to Tatooine. No Tatooine. We haven't seen a hide nor hair of Tatooine in this episode or in this
Yeah,
season. None. No Tatooine. You go to Tatooine and I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with fucking Tatooine. I'm not really done, but
there's too many humanoid cunts too. All right, let's wrap this up. So tomorrow we're gonna be back
you
talking
never
about
asked
Star
me
Trek.
my mark.
Oh yes, what is it?
I'm probably going to settle on a generous 8 because again, I wanted more time with the side characters. This would have if we would have had less time with Andor, this would have been a 9 for me. But we had way too much time learning the ins and outs of this prison and all the bullshittery that goes on in there. We already know it's bad. I mean, they're not treated poorly, but they're not. I
They
mean,
are.
but they're 90% of the people in there probably don't deserve to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, it's still. I mean, they're slaves.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, they're slaves. So
Yeah, I bet you like 10% of those people are actually criminals, like actually did something to deserve to be in jail. And no, they don't and even criminals don't deserve to be forced labor. You know what I mean? So, but still,
yeah, We were thinking that as well, Ginger.
Thinking what?
It's gonna pop up in. There we go. They're building parts for the Death Star.
Yeah, we were thinking about that. Maybe seeing and I had his name up here and I lost it. Kreiser, is that his name? I had it here like 2 seconds ago. Krennic, Admiral Krennic, and then Galen Erso, the designer of the Death Star. So
Oh
we're
yes,
thinking.
Galen Erso. Yeah.
So we're thinking that those might be, if they're just going to start packing on cameos here, that makes sense. That might be a cameo that makes sense if this is parts for Death Star. So yeah, Krennic. So I would be okay with it. You know what I mean? Like I'd kind of like to see that.
Okay. So yeah, I gave it a 9. You gave it 8. Ginger gave it an 8 as well. Your 8 sounded very negative. 8's a fucking excellent mark. You know.
It is an excellent mark, but I mean, they've episode 6 was a 10 out of 10. Last week's was a 7. You know, like okay, they came back up a little bit this week, but I'm not getting the variety that I wanted from this show. Like I'm not getting the as I think we talked about this in episode like the first 3 episode review where we said they just should call this Star Wars Rebellion, you know, and just it's kind of centered on Andor, but go around to the different facets of the rebellion, Mon Mothma, you know, Luthen, but do it equally. Don't do this like I'm sorry, just because Andor's the main character does not mean I want to spend all the time with him. I want to see what's going on in the ISB and Luthen and Mon Mothma right now more than I care about, you know, Andor's jail time. Truth be told,
Yeah, I agree. It maybe got a bit too top heavy on Andor being in jail, but we did spread the love around a little bit. You know, if
a
you think
little
about
bit,
it.
almost like Discovery style, like a little bit. They got a line in here and there, you know, like.
Fair enough. Well, as I said earlier, we'll be back tomorrow talking about Star Trek Lower Decks, the final episode, as well as the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy. So we'll be doing a double bill, I believe. And after that, on Friday, we'll be doing a review of Star Trek Tales of the Jedi. I actually highly recommend this as somebody who's watched all the episodes. I think it's a lot better than Star Wars Visions, which should have been fantastic. As somebody who is a big somebody who appreciates anime, won't necessarily the biggest fan, but I definitely appreciate it, and I was very disappointed with it. But Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, much better. And I don't want to spoil anything, but because I'm going to spoil it all on Friday. But definitely watch that shit. I'm dying to talk about it.
I'm going to be watching it too, probably some tonight and some tomorrow. So
fantastic. So until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care. See you later. Bye bye.